Hey everyone, welcome back to the Archangel 15. Today's presentation is going to be on why Trump is so scary. I want to start off by saying that I call complete BS on his approval numbers. I think that they're being fabricated and the whole thing's being done for him to attempt to lay the groundwork for running for a third term. I did not vote for Trump. I did not vote for Harris. For lack of better choices, I chose not to vote in the last election. I'm actually registered as an independent, not a Democrat or a Republican. I really, really believe, if you watch my presentations in the past, that Trump actually started nuclear warfare back in his first term, aka COVID-19, aka China virus. Notice how nobody talks about the whole China virus thing anymore. And like I said, in the end, they're going to want to like brainwash the youth, and like I said, make the whole thing like it never happened, like a Holocaust denial. Mark my words. I have family members that are in like this whole Trump cult that are brainwashed, and like I said, really believe that there was COVID-19 and so forth. Um, Trump's this guy. He rose from the ashes of bankruptcy. He built his empire through casinos and other shady real estate dealings. There's a list 200 kilometers long of shady people that he's connected to. And I can say pretty confidently that he's actively involved in pedophilia rings or knows about pedophilia rings to the point of being criminal. Like I said, it's like a part of the whole golf course scene. And I've talked at depth about human refinement. I'm not going to go to that right now, but the whole casino thing is real shady. Like I can tell you that his empire that he built was on the backs of middle class people in the casino industry. Like I said, it's really shady and a real seedy business by nature. He's disconnected from reality. His policies have done absolutely nothing to help our economy. They've only made inflation worse. I really don't believe the guy knows what he's doing. And I really believe that somebody that, like I said, his sole achievement is $200,000 a year plus country clubs, is not really helping our country and the people that need to be helped. It seems like the guy enjoys spending a lot of time golfing. Maybe he'd be better off just taking an early retirement and, giving the job to somebody that actually, wants to be honorable and dignified about it. It seems, like I said, that he doesn't care about the American people with the inflation. I saw in Drudge Report that items that were like $9 are going to be now $17. There was a whistleblower in Target that went around and showed pictures of the before and after price tags, and it's pretty remarkable. And Trump continuously needs to have a boogeyman to be a bully. Like I said, it's like he lives being a bully, and he has to constantly have a boogeyman. Like I said, one week it's the Democrats. It's constantly the Democrats. Always they can't ever work together on anything. And next week it's Iran. The next week it's China. The next week it's Russia. Now, like I said, basically it's like the people who seem to call him out on his shit. It's like he constantly has to try to like make it look like they're the bad ones. But be thankful that there's people that are not afraid to call him out. That's all I can say. He got a lesson recently with a tariff deal as to why you do not want to mess with China. Again, China is a respectable, honorable country that, unlike America, runs a tight fiscal ship. And they are the last people on earth that you want to bully or make enemies with. I can just tell you that much right now. And please, somebody, like I said, tell me how adding more inflation is a good thing. Or like I said, that's going to help our country. Like I said, it's getting to a point of being scary, really scary. And his stance on a lot of other things, like drilling in the ocean, like I said, are really questionable. And also just his overall support for big oil. Let's get something straight here, folks. It's 2025, and we have far better alternatives than what big oil and Tesla Corporation alike are able to provide us. The whole thing about Elon Musk and Doge, like that's debatable. Like our country was overrun with a lot of fiscal responsibility or obligations. And like I said, what they did in some ways was good, but I guess it's open for debate. Like I said, a lot of people are not happy with that situation. Do you honestly think that there's a billionaire on the face of the earth that basically doesn't have a bank account in Russia or China? Like I said, I mean, this guy's responsible for overwatching $1 trillion defense deals. the Pentagon. They're like active against China and Russia. And like his company has active deals in all these countries all around the world. So it's really a joke. Nobody like calls it out on like anybody out on this. And another reason Trump is so scary is his his fascination with Israel and building a temple there. And it's like a precursor to like the Antichrist or the false prophet. I'm telling you, he's greedy, folks. Like, mark my words. Anything related to Israel and Trump, watch very, very, very closely. Like I guarantee you, like I said, especially if he tries to override the 22nd Amendment and go for a third term, you're gonna see him try to build a temple in Israel. Like I said, I can guarantee you that's what he's fixated with. It's the most valuable piece of real estate on the face of the earth, and for a good reason. And I'm telling you, the guy has some type of God complex, or he thinks he's a god, or some type of messianic influence. And he's, like I said, really a screwball, and like can't even write his own book that he, like I said, his book that he wrote. And somehow in his book, he predicted 9/11 as well. Another shady thing. He actually had prior knowledge or predicted 9/11 in his book before it happened, and he didn't even write his own book. But yeah, the whole thing with the 22nd Amendment is really scary. Like I said, please, like I said, rise up now, folks, before it's too late. And like I said, I really believe his poll numbers are fabricated, his approval numbers are being fabricated, and our voice is being silenced. And I know there's a lot of Trump supporters out there, and if there are, like I said, you're watching this, please tell me something from his first presidency term that is an accolade or an achievement, like something big, like one thing he did. And don't tell me he built a wall, please. Honestly, the guy it's really questionable as to whether he's a real conservative or not. I really believe that his sole purpose was to destroy the Republican Party and run it off of a cliff, so that there's like basically a secondary communist party that moves in and unites. But I want to show you here. This is a clip from Andrew Breitbart on Trump.
Andrew, is Donald Trump a conservative?
Of course he's not a conservative. He was for Nancy Pelosi before he was against Nancy Pelosi.
That was from the late, great Andrew Breitbart. They still have Breitbart News Media, amazing source for balanced news. It's hard to find anymore. He has a lot of dirt on a lot of people. And like I said, I know that that's where he gets a lot of his ammunition from. Like I said, like he's secretly holding a lot of dirt on a lot of people. And if anybody were to firebomb him, he'd come out swinging. I can tell you that. The guy's almost been, how many times has he been impeached now? 2? Is it 3? I lost track. Like nobody else can get away with what he gets away with. And how does he do it? He has dirt on people. If you want alternatives like myself, support those who call this dude out on this shit. Like I said, like a lot of red flag flying countries. And if he runs for a third term, it would be a very horrible precedent. It might even bring on Barack Obama to run. Obama had enough respect for this country to not even try to do that. And I honestly think that if you were to put like both of them together in a heads-up match, I really believe Obama would win. Anyhow, again, please, somebody tell me one accolade, like Obama had his Obamacare moment. I didn't support that really, but like, tell me one achievement, like I said, from his first presidency. One, please. There's a lot of true conservatives, including myself, that can't stand the guy. Like I showed the clip from Andrew Breitbart. It's really questionable as to whether the guy really does stand for true conservatism. And like I said, he's obviously not a fiscal conservative. Our country's debt situation continues to get worse. Moody's downgraded our credit limit the other day, and it's a long way down, folks. Please, like I said, stand for truth now. Stand for what is right now before our sacred democracy is raped and the Trump cartel imposes a form of monarchy. I'm going to end here. Stay well.